and my name is Benson. I'm a hereditary chief Gitanyow. My dad is a hereditary chief here in Gitanyow, and that's why this is where I live. I'm really grateful that we have this gathering today. I'm really grateful because when I listened to the report on television last night, it just touched my heart because there's poverty everywhere and it affects all of us. Before we begin, we thank you for today. We thank you for the people that have come to help us. We ask for your blessing on this meeting. We ask you to open our minds. We ask you to open our heart to the issues in our communities. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Elder, for appearing here this afternoon and blessing our hearing. We are all honored and privileged to be here in the traditional territory of the Gitskan Nation. It's indeed an honor for us to be here now. While I say it's an honor for us to be here and we're pleased to be here, the fact is we are here to discuss matters that are terribly tragic and very unhappy circumstances to bring us here. And I'm speaking, of course, of the many women who have gone missing and the many women who have been murdered in our communities and in our province. By way of background, the provincial government established this inquiry in September of last year. And the inquiry was established after the appeals of Robert William Picton were finally disposed of by the Supreme Court of Canada. You may recall that Picton was convicted of 6 charges of second-degree murder, and he received 6 life terms. So at that stage, legally the province was in a position to establish a commission of inquiry and find out why, what happened, why did the women go missing, why did the investigation take so long, and why are women continuing to go missing in our province and in Canada for that matter. So initially the province asked us to examine certain issues and to investigate on them. And the first of these was to examine, to inquire into and report back on missing women in the downtown east side of Vancouver. That was primarily where the Picton murders came from, emanated from. They also wanted us to examine why the prosecution entered a stay of proceedings against Robert Picton after he'd been charged with attempted murder, possessing a weapon in confinement. He was charged in 1997, and those charges were stayed in January 1998. And also, the province wants us to examine how police are investigating complaints of missing women in general in this province. Because, as I said a moment ago, many women have gone missing. And many of those women who have gone missing are Aboriginal women. Many are poor. Many have no voices. And so there's a concern that maybe the authorities are not listening, or maybe the authorities are not investigating these cases as they should. We don't know that. We have to hear all sides of what's taking place. So what we need to find out from you is what has happened and what complaints, if any, you have had, or what you know about the circumstances regarding missing women. I should add that we, initially the Commission of Inquiry was confined to what was taking place in the Lower Mainland because the inquiry was primarily concerned with the Picton murders, if you will. But it became clear that there are women who have gone missing, women who have been murdered, innocent women who have been murdered throughout the province. So in January of this year, we went to Prince George because of Highway 16. As you know, the Highway of Tears has had many, many missing women. There are numbers ranging anywhere from 18 to over 40 women have gone missing in the last 15 to 20 years, or even longer. So I asked the province at that time to expand the terms of our inquiry to include what we call a study commission. Now, study commission means that we would study the circumstances, we would study the events of what has taken place and study the background of missing women and come up with some suggestions as to how we as a society can respond to the complaints. So we know the terrible tragedies that have taken place along Highway 16. The women who have been poor, women who are Aboriginal, women who have had no voices in the past. We think it's fair that we come to the communities where these tragedies have taken place and to listen to you. You know, it doesn't do any good if an inquiry is confined to Vancouver, the Lower Mainland, because the tragedies are every bit as horrific in this community as they are anywhere else in the province. So a study commission that's concerned with what we're doing here is an informal type of a hearing. You don't have to be under oath. You will not be cross-examined if you come forward and you talk to us and give us your views and give us your ideas. But what that means is that whatever you tell us cannot be taken into consideration in the formal hearing commission part of the inquiry. That's because the formal hearing inquiry, the portion of the inquiry part of the inquiry, the hearing is only applicable to what took place in the Lower Mainland. That is, what happened in the Picton inquiry, why were the charges laid against them, and those aspects. But there are other issues that we deal with, and that is what happened here in the Highway of Tears. What do you know about what happened here? What ideas do you have? What suggestions do you have? Because everybody, including the police, want to know how anything could be improved. We have police here today who have taken it upon themselves to take part in this inquiry. And for those reasons, we are here to hear your ideas and your thoughts and what can we do to stop these terrible tragedies. I mean, what has taken place here and in this province is not acceptable. Innocent women are losing their lives. Innocent women have disappeared amongst us. And it is for that reason that we've taken a somewhat unusual step of coming away from the Lower Mainland and coming into this community, and this small community, and to hear your voices. You're in a good position to tell us what you think should be done. So with that in mind, I would ask Ms. Locke or Commission Council to direct us as to who wishes to come forward and speak. And you need not be afraid, you need not be intimidated, because we're doing this in a very informal way, and you're amongst friends and amongst supporters. And I just want you to know that. Thank you.
Come forward and sit with us. I think we're going to have some support for her. I'll be with Derek. I think she's very brave, and she was actually the one that really encouraged me to move this meeting here. She has two family members
Please have a seat.
who went missing, Derek and Alberta Williams, and she was involved with both. And I think she does have something to say that's very important for this commission. And I wondered if we could.
I'd just like to let you know that I've seen Alberta Williams just prior to her disappearance in Prince Rupert. I was on my way home from work, and I was waiting for the bus to catch the bus. And then I saw her in a car. She was sitting in the back of the car, the back of the car, and she was waving. She was pointing at the guy in the car, and she was pointing at the back. I didn't know what she was, and she was waving her hand at me, but I didn't know of why she was doing that. Then I find out the next day when her dad came to see me if I had seen her, and but she didn't make it to my house. I found it over to go and see, and she disappeared right after that, and so I was thinking about it after, and I knew how the guy looked like, the one that was in front of the car, but I don't know his name. And he had dark curly hair, and he's kind of young, in his 30s, I suppose, and Roberta was pointing at him, and then she was pointing in the back of the car, but I guess she wanted me to read the license in the car, but I didn't know at the time what she wanted me to do, but I didn't have time because I was in a hurry to go home, because I was looking after a child, the foster child I had, and I was in a hurry to get back up to the apartment where I was staying. And then the next day her dad came around again, and she said, Alberta is missing. And he asked me to drive around with him. And so we drove all over in Prince Rupert. And we couldn't find her. And then I got a phone call. I was just about to go to sleep, and somebody said, come and see me down here at the Bingo Palace, he said. And I wanted to inform you that I knew where they come to Alberta. She's not here in Prince Rupert, not right in Prince Rupert, but where the towers are. You know where the towers were? Outside of Prince Rupert? And I said, yes. And you can inform all the searchers to go there and look for her there. And so I phoned the RCMP, and they told me that they couldn't find her there. They had some people from Cedar Crossing, all the relatives, and so they went out looking for her, but they missed her until a few weeks later. The one guy with his dog was just walking around on top of where the trails were, and that's when his dog sniffed her out. She was covered with some branches and stuff. I guess it why they missed her in the first place. And then I asked her, Mom, was he wearing a grayish blue blouse? And she said yes. And then I knew it was her. And so all I knew about her. Before her, she was taken away from us.
You were involved with the RCG as well?
Yes, I did. I phoned them and then followed up with what I had told them. But they couldn't find her at that time until somebody was just walking around there and we started finding her. And on the trail, one of the trail, exactly where the towers were, the towers were at Skinner River. I didn't know Lana was missing, and the same thing happened. I was just about to fall asleep when I seen a vision of her standing in front of the store where they're going to buy cigarettes in Terrace at the Northern Inn. And then two people came in a bluish navy car, and somebody grabbed her, and somebody told me in the back that they hit her on the head, and then they dragged her in the back of the car. That's all I seen. And then they told me the next day she was missing. And, but I didn't know it was her at the time. She was a heavy set person and blonde lady. They're grabbing her and putting her in the trunk after it happened. It happened really quick. And then I woke up. I thought I was sleeping, but I don't know what happened, but I seen things right there. I didn't know it was her. And I saw her before that, but I didn't talk to her. And but it was quite early in the morning. So what you see, okay.
Thank you for coming.
Anne Derrick is here, and she's going to just say a few words.
My name's Ann Derrick, and I've lived in this community since 1969. My niece is Lana Derrick, and she's found the missing baby. My sister-in-law, Sally Alice, should be talking. My late husband and I went on a search with the search party, looking and it's hard when there's no answers. It's hard when there's no answers. It just goes on and on and on.
I want to thank the people from Gitanyow for having this meeting here. And I know that how hurtful it is and the grief that we must bear. And I just pray that God have your hand. I know Linus Chipman, this must be her granddaughter. I went to church with her, and now I'm going to church with I'm going to church with Lorna Brown, her daughter. Terrace. It's a homeless outreach program that goes from Monday to Friday, and I'd say about 85% is reservations from all the villages, from all over. So I see a lot of what happens, a lot of things that happen there through drugs and alcohol and lack of funding. A lot of them are pensioners. It's not all drugs and alcohol. It's not all homelessness. And it's just people on low income really trying to make ends meet. And one of the things I'd like to see happen is the villages get together and maybe in a place like Terrace, put up a women's hostel for First Nations. That's one of the things I'd like to see happen. And for Iceland Land, one of the things that was brought to the table and was refused. But I'm going to try and address it again at the next meeting. Was that they pay for bus fare. Bus fare for the people that can't afford it. I forget how many, we quit counting it when we were feeding, I think, 250 people per day. We quit counting. And there's been so many deaths just at that one bridge. And if the poverty can be addressed, if funding could be increased, and parents would, know where your children are at. These kids, some of them are just working and just trying to get home. They're not out there partying. I have grandchildren that are working, and sometimes they're biking home, and yes, they have to bike home on the highway. There was one speaker in Terrace, and she just says that it was because people are on drugs and alcohol, and they had mental problems. That's not true. That made me very angry. That's just plain not true. It's not true for everybody. You can't speak for everybody. But I think if we address the poverty, and if First Nations people and a band stand together and just try and do what they can. Try and do what they can for the people.